I wonder how bad of a piece of advice it would be to tell her to just threaten to quit. Because it feels like if she alone is handling two different job functions as a one-person department, I feel like she has some leverage.
In this type of situations, right, any option should be kept as an option.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's one possible option that she should take, if she, especially if she has favor.
Hey, it's the Ask Work It segment of the podcast. If you have an issue in the workplace that you can't solve, you don't know who to turn to, why not write to us and we might be able to help you with your problem. Gerald, today's question comes in from a listener by the name of OOO or Triple O.
Oh no.
But this OO stands for something. She says it's overloaded with work, overwhelmed by work, and feeling overworked.
Wow. Okay. There's a lot of story behind this
Just
person.
to set the context of what she's writing into us for, right? So,
We call it triple O?
Triple O.
Okay.
Yeah, Triple O. So, Triple O is in her mid-40s. She's been working in a public healthcare organization for the past 5 years. She was originally hired for a strategic planning role, but after her original boss left, she was moved into different reporting lines and eventually transferred into a completely different department. Today, being a manager, she is effectively a one-person team handling two separate functions alone because of budget and manpower constraints. So she says she's overwhelmed by the workload and increasingly questioning whether she is even suited for the role because she has had no prior experience in the area to begin with. So the question she's asking is, what now? It's a very loaded question with a lot of context to unpack here, Gerald. Where should
Overloaded
we
with
start?
work, overwhelmed with work, feeling overworked. Wow, I think for Triple O, it really sounds like the workload has been very, very overwhelming, especially being a single contributor.
Yeah.
But it's the reality, right? For many people, even across whether it's public healthcare or even many other sectors, there are many people I met who tell me that they're struggling with work, struggling with the heavy workloads, and they don't know what to do. Right?
If we were to be in Triple O's position, what would be the first thing that you would try to do to avoid burning out?
I think asking for more resources, and even though your boss might say we don't have that resource, somehow you gotta find a way to make the work more fitting and easier to do. I always personally say that you sometimes need to keep knocking on your boss's door, because in a very busy state of work, usually your manager's priorities may not be to elevate the difficulty. They're just trying to keep the business and the lights running, you see.
Yeah, they got their own thing to focus
Yes.
on aside from your work.
Right. So you got to kind of keep knocking in a gentle way, of course, not like irritating way.
Okay.
Or sometimes maybe irritating my work for the boss. All right. Keep asking and maybe keep thinking that there must be a better way to do this. If I'm Triple O, I will make sure that I won't let this become the status quo, because sometimes we even let this sense of busyness become routine. And we tell ourselves we have to grow to accept and grow to survive this, you see.
Right.
When it sometimes may not be sustainable in the long run.
Right. So we kind of place the onus on, getting past this tough situation on ourselves, even though it's an environmental issue.
Yes. And the fact that this Triple O is working in a service-related industry where health is involved, right? There's public health safety to also take note of, because if she is not well taken care of, it could affect her work quality, which could affect people who are in pain, who are in need of healthcare. So I would say that this is pretty dire. I know the reality, like you mentioned, it's not 100% controllable. There's a lack of resources. We can't do anything here and there. But Triple really has to find a way, and to work with a supervisor to find a way to make the situation better.
Right. There's one thing that really struck me in her letter to us. It's that she outlined that she is wondering whether she's even suited for the role because, to begin with, she had no prior experience doing this.
Yeah.
Which is baffling to me because she is essentially a one-person department handling two completely different job functions, and she has no experience.
I'm glad you brought that up, because when you see her experience, it sounds like she's just being pushed into different job roles, almost like a square trying to be fitting into different shapes, different packs, different shape packs to make things work. it may not be the most efficient use of her abilities. She was brought in for a strategic role, and then now she has to do operations and handle operations on her own.
Yep.
Right? It's almost like this may not be the best analogy, but it makes me feel like she's asking a fish to climb a tree. All right, but I'm sure she's doing her best. But it may not be the best use of her potential and her skill sets. You see, so I'm also wondering, like for Triple O, is part of her challenge also not just the workload, but also coming from the place where she's not optimized.
So I wonder how bad of a piece of advice it would be to tell her to just threaten to quit. Because it feels like if she alone is handling two different job functions as a one-person department, I feel like she has some leverage to the bosses to be like, hey, give me more resources or you will need much more resources. Mm-hmm. Is that a conversation that you can have in any politically correct manner?
I think and in this type of situations, right, any option should be kept as an option.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's one possible option that she should take, especially if she has favor.
Yeah.
If she has favor and she knows she's indispensable in a way, right? Then maybe she can negotiate and assert on that basis. And maybe the team manager is like, okay, if you're not here, just find another person. Another person just to fit in. It's okay.
Yeah, also considering that she was forced into this role with no prior experience, they could easily just pull anyone else into it.
It could be a case of next better player. Your turn is over now, another person just comes in. So I think for Triple O, really, really taking a step back first, to ask herself, like, is there any control that she can have over this situation to evaluate, is this the best place for her? Because if she knows that this is a suitable place for her, she can learn and grow, and she's doing work that she finds meaningful and also purposeful, aligned with her skill sets and her potential, then maybe it's worthwhile to figure out how to make this work.
Right.
But if today you are feeling like you're thrown in a fire, you are not equipped, a lot of the things that you are doing is not aligned with what you want, you feel like you're constantly using your less dominant hand, if I may, less dominant hand to work instead of natural right hand to work on things, then, maybe another way of thinking would be, is there some place better for me?
Apply yourself to something that would better suit
yes,
where you want to be in life.
Maybe within the organization, because a healthcare organization is huge, right? You may not need to move companies.
Right.
You can move within the departments and then start to be intentional about that thought, meaning that, okay, while I try to survive here today, I need to know that tomorrow, on the long midterm, I should not be here. And start to engineer conversations, do some planning, do some networking strategically, so that you kind of inch your way, pivot your way towards something newer and better for you, right? If let's say there's no opportunities within your organization, look elsewhere. Public healthcare is great because they are big. There are many institutions and all connected. So I've seen cases where people actually move healthcare institutions, right, in search of something that they find more fitting for them.
If her boss is maybe on some level someone that she can talk to, how would you recommend bringing up that conversation to say, hey, this right now is not working for me?
Yeah, I think whether Triple O goes up to a boss to be open about the struggle to cope with the work, if that's honesty is possible, then great. If not, sometimes it comes out as a performance issue, because you can't handle everything at one go. Then maybe that looking at opportunities where mistakes are made and then using those opportunities to say that, boss, I really cannot.
Yeah.
Because the mistakes are showing up already. The other way, of course, is to really look at it from a more positive angle, to look at it and say, how can we make this better? Like, you've got all your appraisals, you've got your work reviews. Because Triple O is in charge of the whole workflow and all the tasks, right? She can come up with some ideas, some ways to refine the process to make things more efficient. I think that could be one of the value add on how to do this. Sometimes it might involve restructuring a bit of their work processes with other teams. So maybe even knowing what other people are doing and how can some of these processes be fine-tuned could become useful. But like I said, these things do take time. And,
for sure.
Between your daily work that you're barely surviving and thinking about more progressive kinds of work to do corrective, longer term gains kind of work, Triple O has to balance, has to figure out. If I'm Triple O, what I might want to do is I will let my boss think about that strategic piece, flag out the issues and let my boss think along with me, like, what can we do about this?
Right.
My responsibility is to do the job and to make sure that we don't burn, right, in our daily operations. But I need you to help me to see this thing in the long run. How can we do this better so that both of us will benefit?
Right. So not exactly going to the boss with a kind of a blank check situation where you just say, I am having a problem, but you do direct them towards a solution, just letting them know that with all of your work right now, you can't work towards refining the steps to take to make that situation a reality.
Yeah, I don't want to just sound like I'm citing bosses, but the truth is they've got to kind of manage upward and downwards as well.
Yeah.
So if today's solutions can come from the ground, then it helps them to kind of like not have to be burdened that much, but rather think about, if this makes sense, then let me try to do my part to work upwards to get this thing done. I feel that sometimes the best solutions come from the ground.
So, Triple O, I hope that our discussion here was helpful for you. If you have to have that conversation with your manager, we hope that you're able to take the best parts of our conversation and kind of tailor it to your own situation. But if you have to seek greener pastures, well, all the best. We would love to hear from you if you manage to do that. For the rest of you who are watching, tuning in, or listening, if you have a problem similar to Triple O's, or if you have anything that you want to discuss with us here on the Work It Podcast, you can write to us at cnapodcast@mediacorp.com.sg or comment wherever you are listening from.
I'm Gerald.
And I'm Nat. Stop running on empty and start running towards joy.